Good morning, this is Kim Hammer with your devotion taken from the book of Judges, chapter 11 into chapter 12. Toward the end of chapter 11, we find this is where Jephthah had offered up his daughter as a sacrifice. Now, some of our listeners had sent me a message and said, did he really do that? And the reality is, according to the Bible, it would appear that he actually did, because when you get toward the end of verse 11, it says that after 2 months she returned to her father, and he did to her as he had vowed, and she was a virgin. Now, what he had vowed to do was that after he came back from the battle, he promised to the Lord that the first thing he saw, he would sacrifice unto the Lord. And as a result, his daughter came out of the house, and that was the first one that he saw. And she was dancing with the tambourine, happy to see her daddy coming back from war. And there's a great celebration, you would have thought. But in reality, he fell to the ground and he rent his clothes, and he went into a time of grieving because he knew that he had made a promise unto the Lord, a promise that he was going to have to keep. Now, some of us may think, well, that's very barbaric that he would do that. Also, the fact that God would allow him to do that. While it is that we don't know exactly for sure that he did or that he didn't, it implies that he did. The difference is, I want you to think back to when God required Abraham to offer Isaac as a sacrifice unto the Lord. God never intended for him to go through with that. God was testing his faith, because you remember, just as Abraham made the commitment to do so, God stopped Abraham and he offered up a sacrifice instead of his son, pictorial of what God would do for us, and that he would offer up his son in our behalf, because we were the ones that should have died because of our sin, but God offered his son up as a sacrifice in order to pay for the debt of our sin. The difference between the two stories is that God told Abraham to do it. He didn't require him to do it to the point that he was going to go and do it all the way through, but God was testing his faith. In this case of Jephthah, as we would say today, he just overloaded his mouth and he paid a price for it, and so did his daughter. I don't know whether God stopped him or not. It would have been compassionate of God to have stopped him, but the reality is it's left unknown. And the problem with that is that's an example of testing God instead of God testing you. And we're told in the Bible, do not tempt the Lord thy God. We find that Jephthah overloaded his mouth and he paid a price for it. You know, sometimes we overload our mouth and we have to pay a price for it as well. God would rather us comply with the scriptures, and if we're going to make an offering unto the Lord, let us not make a foolish offering unto the Lord. Let us make an offering unto the Lord that would honor and glorify him, and not leave any doubt in anybody's mind that we did it for the right reasons and for the genuine reasons that bring glory and praise to the Lord. Jephthah goes on and he continues to fight. You know, it's one of the things about that generation back then was they loved to fight, and they were willing to fight anybody. In that case, he fought his own tribes, or he fought the brothers from his own tribes, and he ended up annihilating them as well. He went on for 6 years and he served the nation of Israel as their leader. But the reality is, we find that what's left as a mar in his life is we always wondered what happened with his daughter. Best thing we can do is not do anything that would leave any doubt in anybody's mind, that we would constantly serve the Lord, and everything we do bring glory to him.